This episode of Therapist Connect podcast is sponsored by WebHealer, the #1 website provider for private practice therapists. Serving the community for 20 years, WebHealer offers a non-technical and fully supported online platform helping therapists use the internet to grow their practice. Whether you need a website, a booking system, or even a secure email address for your practice, WebHealer can help. Contact WebHealer today via www.webhealer.net and use the coupon Therapist Connect for £100 off their Do It For Me service.
Welcome to the Therapist Connect podcast, a podcast for therapists by therapists.
Hello and welcome to Therapist Connect. This is a discussion episode. I'm Kim Evans, Person-Centred Psychotherapist, Visibility Coach and Research Supervisor. I'll be interviewing two therapists who are excited to share the ins and outs of running a mental health business alongside their psychotherapy practice. Hi both, it's lovely to have you today. So I will start with Vanessa. Can you tell me who you are and what you do?
So my name is Vanessa and I am a cognitive behavioural therapist, and I am also the founder and director of the organisation Inside Out Wellbeing. So in terms of, I guess, all about myself, I'm all about mental health, all about well-being, and I guess that comes across through my own practice as a therapist and also with my social enterprise. I'm very passionate about mental health education in particular. I believe that mental health education, psychoeducation can essentially change lives, and I've seen it for myself and also again within my practice and within the business as well. So I guess Inside Out Wellbeing is all about providing that mental health education across the community with young people, doing so in creative ways.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. So you're working with day-to-day people in what you do, and it sounds like you're doing an amazing work. And just pause on what you're doing because we will go into your business in a bit more depth. But thank you for that wonderful introduction, Vanessa. So we have Ngozi as well on the line. So hi, hon, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, Kim. Hi, Vanessa. My name is Ngozi Cadmus, and I am a psychotherapist and social worker. I specialise in mental health and leadership coaching. I run a multicultural counselling service called Frontline Therapist, and also a coaching and consulting company to help women essentially level up in their leadership.
Lovely. Wow. It sounds like you've got a lot on your plate, but it sounds all wonderful. Thank you so much for that. We spoke a little bit on social media, and I did actually have a question on that because, you know, in our training, there's not much information given on social media. I think there's even kind of messages about, you know, don't put yourself too much out there because, you know, you want to be more of a blank canvas, or, you know, don't have too much information of your personal life going out to your clients. There is a bit of a tension there because obviously you need to market yourself within business. You need to be on social media and all those kind of things. What would you say on that, I guess, in terms of people are thinking, you know, how does it work as a therapist and as a business owner when it comes to social media?
I like that question. So I have got a love-hate relationship with social media. Just in the sense where, of course, you know, when we look at social media itself, it can be very, very helpful, and it has definitely 100%. You know, I would be lying if I said it didn't help me with my business. It has helped with my business in terms of marketing, in terms of getting bookings, to do workshops, to do events, panel discussions, just reaching new audiences, being able to, you know, have other companies, other businesses who are on social media, see what we're doing, and then also contact us as well. So in terms of visibility, social media is fantastic. In terms of being a point of contact, it's fantastic. On the other end, it's also a whole leap of work. And I remember when I initially started Inside Out, I was doing all of the social media stuff by myself, and it was quite intensive. Of course, now we've come to understand that social media itself is a full-time job. For, I guess, if you're trying to post consistently, get messages across consistently, and promote your business. So I think something that has been really, really helpful for us at Inside Out, as well, as we now have a particular team who are basically doing social media, and because of that, I don't even look at the Inside Out social media account, because it's all being done and it's all running itself. And I think that itself alleviates a bit of stress as well, like I spoke about earlier on, where as a CEO, as a director, you're wearing multiple different hats. It allows me to take off that social media hat and just hand it over to the team to do it. So you guys they've got the brief, you guys go ahead and do what you need to do. For business wise, that's how I'm currently handling it. When it comes to, I guess, my own personal page and my own branding, I think for me personally, I feel like it's important to get that balance, for people to know that I'm a human being. I always want to be that person who is relatable for the people that want to work with me, and being someone, being a Black Ghanaian young female, grew up in East London in the hood, that sort of vibe. I do want people who have had similar experiences to me to be able to, come to me if they feel that I'm the person that, can relate to their experiences. I've heard so many times where people are saying, within therapy, they feel like they're having to do extra work with having to, over explain themselves. And that itself can be exhausting and, takes away the therapeutic element. So for me, with being on social media, I post pictures of myself, I post reels, I do a mixture of content that puts out key, I guess, psychoeducation. I would say maybe 5 ways to improve your mental health, things like that, or maybe things that are a bit humorous, just a combination of different things. Again, it's about making mental health education fun, making me a relatable person that people can, come to ask about my services as well. So I have people in my DMs, all the time asking about, do you provide any workshops for this? Would you be able to come and speak at this event? Would you be able to come and do this, that, etc.? So I think being a point of contact is good. And I feel like I'm able to get that balance. Of course, I'm not as consistent as I would like to be, but still, I think with the time that I have doing what I can with that, I'm able to get the message across. One of the things that I am finding a little bit cringe worthy on social media is what I'll describe as pop psychology. Do you know what I mean by pop psychology?
Explain that a little bit more.
Just in terms of, it's hard. It's hard because there's certain things that people might post in regards to mental health and psychology that will be really oversimplistic. And it's, for example, I don't know, three ways to identify that you experience childhood trauma, and there'll be literally just 3 things there. So someone might look at it and think, oh my gosh, I've got something seriously wrong with me because I'm ticking all of these boxes. And that's where it starts to get a bit difficult, and that's why I sort of label it as pop psychology, where it's like the clickbait stuff that is going to catch people's eye and they're going to want to click on it, and it just might not bring the right message across sometimes. However, I also understand that on social media, you've got limited characters that you can use. Nowadays reels are maybe 1 minute to 30 seconds, 20 seconds, where you're trying to get a really short message across. So I think it's important to be mindful if you're posting that type of content, especially with people that, you know, are seeing things like that for the first time, it might be a bit scary for them to see, you know, so some of those things. But all in all, I guess being able to get that balance and posting ethical content, I think is important.
No, definitely, because I don't think, you know, Instagram doesn't have the skills to vet, you know, things that are going out there. So like you said, there's so much different information going out there, and so I think it is good that there are qualified people like ourselves, that if we do post, at least people can get the right information. And also just for people to check on people's profiles, do they say that they're qualified, those kind of things, because I do know that some people do let them know, you know, I'm just into psychology, but I'm not a qualified counsellor or psychotherapist, those kind of things. So yeah, no, brilliant. And fab that you've got a team. That's always helpful, isn't it? 100%. In terms of managing social media. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Vanessa. Ngozi, have you got any thoughts? What was your relationship like with social media?
I guess similarly, but I'm going to lean towards finding mediums that, you know, work for you. But yeah, I guess similarly with social media, I say the middle millennials, and the millennials start from 1980 to 1990 something. So I'm born in the 90s, so 1991. So essentially just right in the middle where we saw the evolution of AOL, MySpace. If anyone remembers High Five, anyone remembers High Five? Yeah. You know, MySpace, all of that. And then I remember the days where you had to say, I'm meeting you at 7 o'clock, and you had to meet, because the only thing we had was that 20p for the phone box. And then that 20p only lasted 1 minute. So you'd be like, I'm there at Elephant and Castle. That's all you had. So I feel like because I grew up in that day, I appreciate, you know, both the, you know, the online space and the offline space. And I went through a lot of my difficulties with social media in the early years. So in the early 2007 with Facebook, and just feeling like very low and depressed, watching other people have fun and thinking, oh my God, you know, I'm just sitting at home. So I guess with the advent, you know, of Instagram and TikTok, I don't really have a lot of those feelings. I literally, my personal consumption of it is watching cute babies and dancing. Like, that is what I watch. But as a business owner, I did find it very frustrating, because I don't really care for social media that much. And I say social media, I'm talking about more short form content like TikTok and Instagram, because social media is wider than that. You've got podcasting, you've got YouTube, you've got other types of social media that might be more akin to, you know, most people's taste. But in terms of the short form content, which is like really short attention span, you've got to do things to catch people's attention. You know what? I've come to a point where that's just not me. So I've got my team that manages that. And what I've decided is, you know, I've started my own podcast and YouTube, because I am better. Give me space and time to speak. That's just me. Don't tell me to say something profound in 30 seconds or say something profound in 1 minute, because I will start to stutter. But give me some space, give me even 5-10 minutes. Within that, you can cut, you know, points from that and put that as a reel for 30 seconds. So it's kind of getting to a place where I'm okay with not going down the route of what everybody's doing. I cannot, I've done it, I do those dancing moves, I do like to dance, but it authentically is not me. I don't sit there and think, oh, I've got to post for social media. I'm just getting on with life. Or I've got to post on my stories. And I think it's okay with that. I think it's finding the right mediums for you. Right. And what I teach my clients in terms of their strategy is finding two short form mediums, like maybe Instagram and TikTok, and then longer term mediums like podcasting and YouTube, and then combining that and essentially repurposing your content. So anything you create for podcasting and YouTube, you just repurpose that for Instagram and TikTok, rather than creating content for each, because then you're going to have content fatigue, which is that's a real thing. But if you can contain one content for one medium and then repurpose that for all of the other mediums, it reduces your content fatigue, right? And you're tapping into what you're more comfortable with. Like, you can see that we all like to talk. So I'm probably more comfortable with space to speak, which might be podcasting and YouTube or that type of format. Majority of us are not probably as comfortable giving us 1 minute reels and doing a jig and a dance and saying 5 ways to overcome depression or 5 ways to overcome. Like, there's more than 5 ways. There's probably like a gazillion ways to overcome. Life, right? So, as you said, the issue with Instagram and TikTok is you get pop culture therapists, people that are literally like, I don't know, they read a book and they feel, and there's nothing wrong with that to a degree, but they feel so inspired and they want to now start telling people how to overcome difficulties, when we've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years in our training. And the people that have the knowledge, because I know there's listeners right now that are like, oh my God, I've been a therapist for 5, 10, 15 years and I just can't seem to connect. You're just not going to connect. Let me just say it's the reality, really and truly. The reality is there are some people that are just talented at basically connecting with people. They haven't got as much substance. That's just really what it is. They haven't got substance, but they're really able to utilize social media, because social media, short form social media, is for people with short attention span. They just want to see something quick. They don't want to know the 50 ways. They only want to know the 3 ways to overcome. So then what I would advise people is that there's so many others, blogging, there's podcasting. There are ways that you can articulate yourself in a way where you can really share your knowledge. Yes, it might take longer. Yes, it might mean that a lot of people will not watch it because they prefer the short term, but you will develop your own community that value your knowledge, that want to hear from you. They don't want to hear the 3 quick ways. They want to hear, no, there's more than 3 ways. There's a number of ways. And I think it's just important to encourage people that you don't have to do what everybody's doing. I think what we did, people weren't doing. People weren't using social media. So it is something that I know a lot of mental health services weren't doing. They weren't using social media. When I started off my frontline therapist, I believed that the way I was going to get clients was from the clinical commissioning group, from GPs, because that's what I understood. That as a social worker, that's where I referred people to. And I got rejected. I got told, I'm so sorry, we can't support you. So I had to go to social media. That was the only way I could get the clients. And then I started to see people, mental health services now jump on social media. And then now I'm like, you know what? I'm a bit tired of Instagram and TikTok. I want to now share what I've got to say without feeling rushed. Without feeling that I've got to be so profound in like a short space of time. Then we go to podcasting, and I'm hoping, really encouraging that there needs to be more therapists, especially from the UK, guys, that are listening that podcast, because there's so much misinformation out there, and we're so trained and we're so talented. We need our voices out there to correct things, to help break down complex questions and topics, not in simple ways. In a way that is effective for and digestible for our audience. So I just a bit of a flip and saying that, social media is a love and hate relationship. I have that as well. But find the mediums that work best for you and work best for the message you want to get out. If Instagram and TikTok isn't the best way, and it isn't for many people, there are so many others. Twitch, I can begin to describe. There's so many platforms that you can really utilize and find your audience on there that will value you, and you can build a loyal community that really want to work with you and listen to your expertise and knowledge.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, 100%.
Speaking of expertise and knowledge, we've got loads of that here together with everything that's been shared. Thank you so much. Just so you know, by the time this comes out, my Bulletproof brand bootcamp will be available. So do get in touch. So just an 8-week program that will help you see clients literally by the end of the 8 weeks. So we talk about everything that we've been discussing today. And just to remind people, it's really about quality over quantity. And once you've got your niche, that specific group that you are targeting, it just makes things so much easier. And you're not having to post every day and do the most, because you know exactly who you are targeting and you're putting out quality stuff. So just empowering people to have confidence to put yourself out there, because social media can be a bit scary, but it is a good medium to reach your target audience or the clients that you're working with. And nowadays people do want to get to know you, like Vanessa was saying. You put yourself out there a bit more, don't you? Because people will actually want to get to know you a little bit as a person when it comes to therapy. But I think bottom line is, agree so much with both of you and what's been said. Do what works for you with the time and energy that you have, because there are so many mediums that help you to do things in different ways. And we can jump on social media and be like, oh, everyone's doing it like this. That seems like the popular way. But do what works for you. And if you are wanting to crack social media and marketing, do get in touch with me. I'm happy to offer any advice that I can. Ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure. Like, I've loved this discussion so much. And, you know, we might have another opportunity, hopefully, to do this. I have one final question. It's a quick one. We don't have a name for this podcast yet. Dun, dun, dun. But there has been obviously a running theme around being a therapist and being a business owner. Is there anything kind of short, snappy, relevant that comes to mind?
Ooh,
what you think we could... Okay, wait, let's ask Vanessa first.
Gosh, no, Ngozi, please go first because I haven't got one yet.
Okay, I've got one as well. But
I was going to say maybe like practitioner to CEO.
Yes, I was going to say that because you said from therapist to CEO when you were talking, and I wrote that down. I was like, that sounds beautiful.
I like that.
It really encapsulates
exactly
the journey.
Exactly. I think it captures all our experiences because essentially we've all been practitioners, and now we're both. We're practitioners at heart, but we are CEO in our minds because we run a service. And we have people that are under us, and which has obviously comes with responsibilities. So I think practitioner to CEO is such a good title, and again it encourages people that, you know, we didn't just end up as the CEO, we went through the journey, and we're all practitioners still at heart. We all still see clients, whether it's in private practice or, you know, working for someone, but we run a business, right? And we're affecting change in the marketplace, and we're supporting people that look like us, that don't look like us. We're supporting people to be all that they've been called to be. So, you know, if anybody, especially women of faith that feel like they are called to something greater than themselves and they really want to monetize their healing skills, holler at myself as well, Ngozi Cadmus, on all social media platforms. Take a look at my podcast, my YouTube, and I'm there to support you become all that you've been destined to be.
Brilliant. Anything else that you want to jump in and add, Vanessa, as well, about what you're doing?
Sure. So I guess at the moment, Inside Out, we're working across universities, we're working across corporate organizations and within the community as well to provide workshops, training, all about mental health. So we cover lots of different topics, from imposter syndrome to bringing your authentic self to work. Also look at, you know, the general topics around, you know, introduction to depression, anxiety, things like that. And we also create bespoke workshops as well. So if anyone is interested in that, then please feel free to follow us on social media. So we are at Inside Out Wellbeing _. We've also got our website, www.insideoutwellbeing.org. If you're interested in any of those services, workshops, support groups, training, then please feel free to message me. If you're looking for, I guess, general advice around you know, starting a business or social enterprise, then please feel free to follow my personal page, which is at Nessa Banks. So that's NESSABANKS_.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And everyone's details will be accessible, you know, at the bottom of the podcast, so people will be able to get those details again. But thank you both for your time. It's been wonderful to speak to you both, and I hope to be in touch with you all soon. It's okay. You're welcome.
Thanks for inviting us.
Anytime. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to the Therapist Connect podcast. Go to www.therapist-connect.com for more discussions and debates.
This episode of Therapist Connect podcast is sponsored by WebHealer, the #1 website provider for private practice therapists. Serving the community for 20 years, WebHealer offers a non-technical and fully supported online platform helping therapists use the internet to grow their practice. Whether you need a website, a booking system, or even a secure email address for your practice, WebHealer can help. Contact WebHealer today via www.webhealer.net and use the coupon Therapist Connect for £100 off their Do It For Me service.